Hello all. Thank you for joining us today. Gender equality is more than a goal in itself. It is a precondition for meeting the challenge of reducing poverty, promoting sustainable environment, and building good governance. These are the words of Kofi Annan, the 7th General Secretary of United States. This indeed brings to light the need of increasing and improving our engagement with the discourse of gender equality, realization, and capacity of identifying the root causes of why a redundant structure like patriarchy prevails beyond its validity is the first step we can take in the direction of change. From the color codings of blue and pink at the very instant of birth, the choices of play items the kids are presented with, it is only a prologue to the numerous emotional and social expressions of gender that are forced upon people. Such enforcements always lead to a skewed system of oppression. Today, let us engage with the idea of gender stereotypes and gender biases and the politics of fear that emerges out of it, that pervades our lives and impedes our growth into a full human potential. Let us understand the fear politics that forces us into conformity. Together, let us raise awareness, and observe our world unfurling into a world where gender is not an opposing ideal or a binary ideal for that matter, but an accommodating continuum. I welcome you all to our webinar, Gender and Fear Politics, Gender Biases and Gender Stereotypes. Let us get into the webinar. I would like to welcome Dr. Jisha George, one of the coordinators of Women's Cell of our college. Please, ma'am.
Good morning, everybody. A hearty welcome to all of you to this state-level webinar on gender and fear politics, gender bias and stereotypes, jointly organized by Women's Cell and IQAC of St. Stephen's College, Uzhavoor. This webinar deals with different types of gender stereotypes that we face and how we should face them effectively. As a coordinator of Women's Cell, it is a moment of great pride and privilege for me to extend hearty welcome to all of you to this prestigious event. First and foremost, I extend hearty welcome to our beloved principal, Lali Miss. I utilize this opportunity to extend our sincere gratitude to Lali Miss for the support and guidance given by her to all the activities of Women's Cell. Welcome, Lali Miss. I cordially welcome our young and dynamic resource person, Mrs. Nimmi Joseph. She is a poet and a freelance writer. She will explain the concept of gender stereotyping and gender bias with the help of literary works. I am sure that her lecture will be useful for all the participants. I welcome Nimmi ma'am to share her words of wisdom. I cordially welcome our IQAC coordinator, Lieutenant Jace Kurian, who is always motivating and encouraging us. Welcome, Jace sir. I wholeheartedly welcome all the participants from different parts of Kerala, which range from different categories like teachers, students, housewives, etc. I wish this webinar to become a learning experience to all the participants. I also welcome all the organizing committee members, technical committee members, my dear colleagues, and my dear students. Let us dive deep and explore with the help of literature various answers to the question, why patriarchy? Thank you.
Thank you, Jisha ma'am, for the very apt introduction. Now, may I welcome the guiding light, the ardent encourager of all our activities, our dear principal, Ms. Lali Kesaria. Please, ma'am.
A very good morning to you all. Honorable Chief Guest, Miss Nimmi Joseph, St. Stephen's College, IKC Coordinator, Professor Jace Kurian, Women's Cell Coordinator, Professor Jisha George, Joint Coordinators and Technical Committee members, Professor Bibi Joseph, Professor Navida, Professor Nia, and Professor Sruthi. My dear students and dear all participants, this is the second online webinar conducted by Women's Cell of our college on gender bias and related topic. I use this occasion to congratulate Women's Cell and its coordinators for their effort and sincerity in organizing this type of seminars which impart social awareness to students. I also appreciate College IKC Coordinator Jason for his support rendered to Women's Cell. We are very fortunate how our young and dynamic resource person, Ms. Nimmi Joseph, as today's resource person. She is a promising poet and freelance writer activist. Thank you, Ms. Nimmi Joseph, for being with us for delivering this talk. Increasing gender sensitivity is crucial in enhancing women's safety. We all are aware of the very sad, cruel, and shameful event happened in Hathras, UP. A 19-year-old Dalit girl who had been raped on September 14 succumbed to her injuries on September 29. She was cremated in the dead of night, keeping away the family. The girl was brutally assaulted, her spinal cord fractured, and the tongue slashed. This inhuman act in UP and similar acts elsewhere in India highlights that safety of girls is not a guarantee despite the several laws in place. The use of sexual violence to oppress women in general and low-caste women in particular has been on a rise. These types of webinars, I hope, will be helpful in empowering our students. Girls' self-esteem, ambition, and expectations are the first victims of gender stereotypes. Therefore, eradicating cliches and their associated behaviors should be a priority for any society and should begin in schools and colleges. I hope today's webinar will do this job. I wish and hope this webinar will be an eye-opener and wish the participants a meaningful time. Thank you all.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your kind words of appreciation and also for contextualizing the need for such a gender engagement that is pertinent for all the genders and the need to change the current political political and social scenario of our country. Now we have amongst us the most esteemed resource person. We have with us a creative mind, an established poet, a philosopher, and an ardent gender enthusiast. And in all the sense, a multi-potentialite. Miss Nimi Joseph, it is our privilege and honor to have you amongst us. To give a small introduction of our resource person, she has done her post-graduation in English literature and is an alumnus of Loyola College, Chennai. She's a language professional, freelance writer, enduring mother among the multiple roles she is handling in life. Today, she is among us to take us on a literary exploration of Tagore's stories. And as a teacher, I've always found that literature is a very good tool to analyze your daily life. So many may know as our Rabindranath Tagore as a bard, thinker, philosopher, painter, and a social activist. But a very few people might know about our great Nobel laureate as an advocate of gender equality. I welcome you, ma'am, to ignite and inspire our minds. Nimi ma'am, please.
Thank you very much. I hope you can see me and hear me properly.
Yes, we are good.
All right. Salutations to the gathering and a pleasant good morning. I thank the college and the organizers of the committee for having me here. Okay. My topic is gender stereotyping and the fear politics. All right. So before just going into or heading on to the topic, let me just give a gist of what I'm going to talk about. I'll be touching upon stereotypes, which is throttling both the genders. I said both the genders. I'm leaving the third gender because that's a huge topic as such. Okay, so the time will not permit. I'm taking women and men and the stereotypes that they are facing. All right. Now, analyzing it a bit, now, asking a bigger question about what is this stereotype leading to, or what are the consequences of stereotyping people. Then we'll be going into what to do about it. Okay, in fact, the different facets of the consequences, how are they being projected on the society, what is the role of patriarchy in the whole scenario. Then we'll be coming to what the women should do at this point. Okay, we have had the awakening. Now, what next? Then after that will be a small story time. I'll be taking you through Rabindranath Tagore's 3 stories in particular, and then we'll be concluding with a Q&A session. Okay, so let me start. Nia, can you put the first slide?
Just give me a second.
Yeah.
Are you able to see my Gmail account now?
I'm not able to see, but what about the others? Can you see?
Yes. Can you all?
Yeah, it's coming. It's coming.
Yes.
I think.
Is this the page you want, ma'am?
1 second. Exactly.
Okay.
Thank you for that. Can everybody go through it? I'll just read it. Women are nurses, not doctors. Men are doctors, not nurses. Women are supposed to cook and do housework, while men are supposed to have a job. Women are caring, friendly. Men are tough and messy. Women are followers. Men are the leaders. Women should look pretty. Men should be good in sports. All right. Yeah. Now, let me come to a small story. In fact, an incident that happened. I'm a language trainer by profession. So I deal with people belonging to different professions. Okay. So once it so happened that I was in the midst of a group of nurses. I was teaching them language. So as a sort of, ice-breaking session, I asked these people, what are the biggest challenges that you face in your profession? So the class, let me just say, there was just one single boy, and rest everybody were women. So women are supposed to be nurses, right? So the whole class were women except one single boy who was a Kashmiri boy. All the girls started talking about, the hectic nature of the job, how they are looked down by the doctors and all that. When I came to the boy, he said, the most difficult thing that I face in my profession is the moment I say I'm a nurse, everybody asks me, oh my God, why did you take up nursing? All right. So now, why do you think the question is doesn't go to a woman? It targets a man. The moment a man says that I'm a nurse, people rolls their eyes, and then let me apologize. I have asked this to many men who said they are nurses until the moment this boy, said that that's the most challenging thing of what I do, of my profession. See, he says, I lost my mother at a very young age. Now that I'm a nurse, I now know that, if somebody in the house knew a bit of first aid, a bit of nursing, I could have saved the mother. So what he says is that's my inspiration why I took up nursing, and that's my satisfaction that I get from the job. But the moment I say that I'm a nurse, it sounds to others that, I'm saying I'm a terrorist. All right. Point number one, put that aside. Now, the next instance, I have a friend who is a man. He is too much fond of children. All right. So, to the extent that he went all the way to Malaysia when his auntie delivered her third kid. Okay. He went there to help his auntie and uncle to take care of that kid. He has nothing to do with pediatrics. He's an engineer. All right. So I was surprised when he narrated the whole of it. He said, I went there when the child and the mother was about to come home from the hospital. I made ready a whole room, made sure about the lighting. I did everything that I could to make the baby comfortable and all that. So he took care of the baby, or in fact, he helped his aunt take care of the baby day and night. I was super excited when he explained, see, the details of taking care of the baby. Now, I just had a thought, whether this guy opens a daycare in our place, will we be, or can we trust our kids with a male daycare owner? I mean, that's a question, but because I knew this man, maybe I'll put my child. But what about the others? Suppose if it is somebody else, a male owning a daycare, okay, a male taking care of kids, will we be interested, or will we feel secure about giving our kids to that daycare which is owned by a man? Okay, so put this aside. Now coming to the biggest stereotype, which is the classic of all ages concerning a man, that a man is chivalrous, a man is aggressive, and all that. We'll just zoom in into a little more into stereotypes concerning a man. Okay, can Nia share the second slide? Thank you. Now, let's put all these stereotypes concerning man as the man box. Now just go through it. Self-sufficiency, talking with others about your, now this is about men, okay? Talking about others, or talking with others about your issues and concerns is weak, because a man should figure out his personal problems without asking for help. Okay, acting tough. A guy who doesn't fight back is weak.
Thank you.
Now, physical attractiveness. Successful men look good, but spending too much money on your look is not manly. Rigid gender roles. Men don't do household chores. Men should be financial providers for their family. Okay. Uh, Heterosexuality and homophobia. A gay guy is not a real man. Straight guys should not have gay friends. Now, hypersexuality. A real man has many sexual partners as possible, or as many sexual partners as possible. A real man never says no to sex. All right. Now, see, we have talked a lot about women and their stereotypes. Now let's get a bit into a serious approach to what the men are facing. Now, there's a particular website, an Australian website, which deals with counseling men. Okay, they talked about, and I have taken this particular screenshot from their website. Now, the next screenshot is far more interesting. Nia, can you put the next one?
Is this the one? What are the consequences?
Exactly. Can you just go through it? The consequences of being in the man box. 64% had suicidal thought in the last 2 weeks. Okay, maybe because they can't meet the expectations. 55% had been involved in road accidents, because men are supposed to be aggressive, right? Even if they're not. 71% had physically bullied someone else in the last month. Again, they're supposed to be aggressive, right? Now, I would like to put one more point beneath the figures that you saw, which is patriarchy, something which is of discussion today. Now, let me try connecting patriarchy to the man box. I don't know how many of you have seen this movie Varuthan, which is a Malayalam movie. It's released, I think, 2 years back. It's Fahad Fasil and Aishwarya Lakshmi's movie. Okay, for those who have not, I'll just give a gist of what the story is like. Fahad Fasil and Aishwarya Lakshmi, they are a couple. They are couples. They were at Dubai. He lost his job. Both of them had to shift back to Kerala. So for a change, they goes to a plantation owned by the heroine's father, late father, and they stays in a bungalow there. All right. Now you have a group of village men, the typical Eve teasers, a gang of Eve teasers around them who keeps doing their business. All right, teasing, commenting on the dress, peeping through the window, and all that. One day, the girl gets very furious because this particular gang of men are somewhere in the somewhere in the compound, singing and teasing these people. So, what do you expect her to say to the husband? Naturally, poi choike amaroda. And then Fahad Fasil, and what do you expect the man to do? Or what do you expect a typical hero to do? Nere chelluka, ellarem adichodukka, okay? All what, the things that Mammootty and Mohanlal does. But unfortunately, or, to the contrary, what happens is, he tries to pacify the girl, his wife. She doesn't agree to it. So he had to he goes to confront them. You can hear him or you can hear his heartbeat beating faster. You can see him sweating. You can, hear him panting while he's going. Now, what does this signify? He's afraid. He's afraid. He's just a single man. This is quite realistic, right? He's a man. He's a single person in the whole place, and to him, or opposite to him, is a group of men. All right, a group of men who could do anything with him. So, in a realistic perspective, there is a lot of fear which is inside. Okay, so unlike all the heroic movies, this person goes to them. He knows that he cannot fight back. All right. So what he does is he tries to talk to them, confront. He gets into a sort of friendly talk with them, and then comes back. The wife, as usual, is completely furious. She thinks he's lesser of a man. She even says, "Had my father been alive, this wouldn't have been my plight." Again, pressurizing. Now, next moment, or after 2 days, she understands that she's being peeped upon through the bathroom window. She comes out furiously from the bathroom and complains again. Now, the next thing, or what Fahad Fasil does next, is very, very interesting. He takes a piece of newspaper and sticks it on the window pane. Let me tell you, this is patriarchy. All right. This is patriarchy. And what do you think is the reason? One, his inner fear. And I will not tell it is the man's fear. I will tell an individual's fear about a threatening situation. He's a man, or he's an individual. He is single. He has nobody in that place to ask for help. And it's very natural for somebody. It is very natural for somebody in his place to feel afraid about. Don't you think it is correct? But being a man, he's not able to accept the fact that, at least in front of his wife, that he's afraid of them. So what does he do? He sticks a paper. Okay. So now, why I tell you this is patriarchy? When a man is burdened with stereotypes or expected to be aggressive, which he is not, expected to be courageous, and he only knows about his inner fear, what does he do? He tries to restrict the women in his household. Okay, restricts the women so that he can save himself from having a conflict with others. This is exactly what you call, or what is patriarchy. Now, what happens if he accepts? Okay, what happens if we expect, or we accepts the fact that men in our group or men in our family has fear, and we acknowledge it and we complement it with our inputs? Things will be far different. We could call a police, right? Or if you are courageous, the women counterpart is courageous, she could do something about it, right? Why should you expect that sort of, aggression and that sort of heroic thing from a man where he is helpless? So think from the history, or trace back to the history. Don't you think this sort of fear exists in everybody? See, I was once, something very similar happened with me as well. My husband said, some particular night, he said, I am afraid. Okay, I am afraid because we are alone here. I'm afraid of somebody coming and attacking us. And this is my nightmare for quite a while, after I read a news about, one particular, I don't remember what exactly the incident was. Two people getting, or a couple getting attacked by somebody. So that actually, I don't know, it was quite difficult for me to handle, to accept the fact that my husband is afraid Okay, it took me some time to deal with the fact that he's an individual. All right, he is afraid. All right, so now think back about how much stereotyping do you, as a woman, do you impose on the men around you? Okay, and how are they dealing with it, or how are they fighting it back? Do they accept it? I don't think they'll accept that they are afraid. All right, because the society does not accept a man who is afraid. He's supposed to be courageous. He's supposed to do a lot of heroic acts. Okay, he's supposed to be heroic in terms of the society. So remember the burden that he is facing. All right, and I strongly believe patriarchy is one of the consequences, probably the major consequences of the stereotyping, or the burden of stereotypes. Now, if you want to remove patriarchy, remove your, or stop stereotyping the men around you. That's just one tip. All right. Now, coming into, we have just putting the men's things aside. Coming to what should the women do? All right. Let me just start that topic with a small experiment conducted by a particular company. And that was, women were called for, or women applicants were invited for applying for a particular post in that company. And once they came, they were divided into two groups. Okay, one group, they had two tests. In fact, one interview and a test. Okay, so group number one, when they came, the recruiter said, all right, see, we are expected, or we are forced to take in women because the feminists outside are, they're accusing us because we are not taking in enough number of women. I don't know, our fate, we have to take women. Obviously, the women in group number one were offended, completely offended. Anyway, they prepared for the test that was coming up. Now to group number two, the same recruiter said, he greeted them and then said, it is very good that, or it is very good to have you have these women as applicants, because we believe that having more women, or having enough women in the company, gives a sense of morality here, an atmosphere of morality here, and a sort of, benevolence, and a sort of, it would be a good addition, or a value addition to the company. And that's the reason why we took this, we plan to take women this time. They were flattered. Okay, they were really flattered, and they were very happy, and then they prepared for the test. Interestingly, after the end of the test, when the result was calculated, group number one, who dealt with the hostile sexism, the explicit, and to whom people said, or to whom recruiter said, hello, we are what do you call, we had to take you because the feminists are accusing us. Okay, so that was group number one, who took direct sexism, or the hostile sexism. They scored very well for the test. Okay, and they proved their mettle. Put that aside. Now group number two, surprisingly, they did not perform well in the test. Okay, now what is the difference? See, they were taken up, or they were given that sort of dignity, they were given a sort of respect, they were welcomed to the company, they were given, the message was quite appealing. Okay, the welcoming was quite appealing. Even then, they could not perform well in the test compared to group number one. Now I'll just talk about why that happened. Number one, or group number 1 dealt with hostile sexism, which is saying obviously that women are weak. Okay, women are exploiters. Okay, women are weak, but we are, we will have to take you because of the external pressures. People were offended, or in fact women were offended, and now in fact we know how to take this. Okay, we now know how to deal with hostile sexism. We have heard that a lot from the society, that you are this, you are weak, you are that, this and all that. We have heard that enough. Plus it's been a century that feminism is been or has been the talk of the town. So we know that, which means the awakening has happened. All right, awakening has happened. Now it's about what step to take next. Now talking about group number 2, see, that was also, or the recruiter also employed sexism, but it was not the direct sexism. It was benevolent sexism, which means, acknowledging the women as the harbingers of morality, okay, weighing them down. In fact, they were pleasant to hear it, but it is, it operates in a different way. It actually weighed them down, made them self-doubtful, okay, cynical about whether they can perform or not, okay, having a sort of, having the burden of expectations on them, that made them not perform well for the tests that came next. I told you we know how to deal with hostile sexism. Okay, we had been doing that brilliantly well. But benevolent sexism does exist in the society, and next thing that you should be aware of is this. Okay, you will have people around who says, uh, you know, you'll have men around, who's very paternal to you. Giving all what you like, being a good romantic partner, men who says, I am dependent on you because you are so complete. All right, there would be people around you like that. This let this not weigh you down. This is benevolent sexism. It just is appealing to the ears, that's all, but it is sexism. Okay, now what do you, or how do you deal with this? Whatever you do, whatever things that you do, like for example cooking, gardening, nurturing a child, deciding whether or not to have a child, going for going for studies, taking up a career, whatever be it, whatever you do in your life, please ask two questions, two essential questions. One, you really like it? And two, do you really like it because it is an instinct from within, or is it because that's your gender role and you are supposed to do it? Let's take cooking. Okay, let's take cooking as an example. Cooking, one side is that it is a survival skill, right? Everybody, men or women, should know a bit of cooking for you to survive. Okay, it's not to feed others, but for you to survive you need to know a bit of cooking. If you have a child, you need to know the basics of how to take care of a child. Now the second thing is, are you doing cooking for the family? Okay, are you forcing yourself to cook for the family, or are you going to get married because the society wants you to get married? Or are you cooking, or are you taking care of the child, are you nurturing the child because you're a woman and you're supposed to do it? That's what the society expects from you. See, if you think it is, you love to cook, okay, if you think you enjoy cooking, if you think that you are so fond of kids, be it a man or a woman, please do it. But if you think, oh my God, I am supposed to do this because who else is going to feed my family? So I'm supposed to do this. Yes, my husband can cook, but how can I expect him to cook all the time? Or, what will my mother-in-law think about it? I am supposed, see, I hate cleaning. I hate cleaning my house, but I am supposed to clean it because what if somebody comes into home, comes into home and then sees a messy house, and then they'll definitely point my fingers on me. So I am supposed to clean. In that case, please don't clean. You have taken that as your gender role. Okay, you have put that in the head that a woman's or a woman is supposed to clean and cook and all that, and then you're doing. You will not be successful in it. At the end of the day, you will find it a waste of time. Okay, you will realize that your instinct was to write, or your instinct was to paint, your instinct was or your natural instinct was to explore the world. You didn't do it. And you were spending time on things that probably you took up, or probably you thought it was your gender role and you had to satisfy it. Remember, happiness is, or happiness should be, the aim of life. Okay, if you are not happy, you will not be able to keep everybody else around you happy. Now, with that, I'm stopping, and with that, I'm moving to the stories of Tagore, the short stories of Tagore. And interestingly, this was written, I hope you know that this was written in the 1800s and the beginning of the 1900s. It is that old. It is written at the time when there were child marriages. Sati was happening with a lot of vigor. Women were considered a completely inferior gender and all that. Now let's come to the stories, starting with the first story, which is Samapti. Yeah, can you just share the next one?
Yes, ma'am. I hope this is the one.
Sorry, 1 second. Exactly. Now, this particular story is called Samapti. Okay, you see the girl. Her name is Mrinmai. Okay, and the boy who's behind him. It's their marriage actually. So the boy is his name is Apurva. See the girl. It's very interesting to go through all the characters of Tagore, be it men or women. This particular girl, her name is Mrinmai, as I said. She is very interesting. She is of the marriageable age, but the point is, she's not interested in anything that a typical woman should be interested in. Okay, she is least bothered about cooking because she hates it. Her parents cannot tame her. Her mother tries hard for it, but just cannot tame her. She is rather interested in climbing up the trees and plucking the mangoes. She keeps a group of men around her, a group of small boys around her who are her friends. Okay, now this boy, he's a lawyer by profession. He comes to his home and then finds this girl on the street. Okay, I mean, finds this girl. In fact, when he fell down, this girl started laughing from a tree, on top of which she was at that point. She caught his attention, and finally, when it was time for him to decide on whom to marry, he said, "Mother, I want to marry this girl." This girl was notorious. This girl was infamous for all the stupid activities that she used to do. So the mother was afraid. Even then, just for his son, he went to the girl's house and asked for, or presented the thing. The girl's mother was too excited because she never thought this girl would get married, or never thought that she would get a proper alliance from anybody who was sensible, because her character is known throughout the village. So she was just too happy. Somehow they get the girl married. On the night of marriage, this girl elopes. Okay, she runs away. The boy goes with a lot of patience. He doesn't threaten her, scolds her, or anything. The boy, with a lot of patience, asks or confronts the girl to come back home. Okay. She says to his face that she doesn't like him. And how dare you marry me without my permission? Did you ask me at least one time whether I love you or not? The boy is upset. The boy is upset, and what he does is he leaves the house, okay, gives her a space, or puts the girl back, and then without complaining to anybody, he leaves the house. Slowly, the girl, and in between, he does a lot of things for the girl, okay, for for making her happy. The boy leaves the town, and after a few months, the girl realizes or slowly falls in love with the man. And then, the moment she falls in love, she uh, goes to him, and then they get rejoined. Okay. See, we have, and remember, let me just remind you, this was written in 1800s. Okay, late 1800s, and remember, there had been girls from time immemorial breaking the stereotypes. Nothing had happened to them. Okay, yeah, here and there were incidents, of rapes and other things, but that shouldn't be, uh, that shouldn't weigh you down. That shouldn't women down, weigh you women down from seeking what you want or breaking the stereotypes. There is, uh, so, I mean, when you are yourself, people will come to you. When you try to compromise and adjust, you will never be happy. Okay, now coming into the next story, which is Atithi. Nia, can you please share the next one? Yes. Now this is a uh, another very very fascinating story about this boy. Okay, the boy's name is Tarapodho, and he is a teenager boy. He what he does is he loves to explore the world. Okay, so he goes missing from his house time to time, goes around, see the places that he wants to, goes with a random group of people, like there would be random theater groups, right? So he'll go with them, um, and that's how it is. He enjoys that sort of a life. He's nothing less than gracious. He's very handsome. He's beautiful. He's so charming, um, and he's very graceful. There are instances in the story in which the villagers ask him, the grown up men of his village ask him, what do you think you're doing? What is there to explore in the world? You're a boy, so um, try to stay back home. Try to know how to sow the seeds. Try to understand how to plow the land. Try understanding how to take care of the family. That is what a man is supposed to do. All right. Now, interestingly, this boy goes to, or he goes to the house of a landlord. In fact, the landlord was so fascinated about his about this boy, and then he takes him home. He teaches him English and all that. Now, the girl who is sitting in front of him, she is Charu. She is the daughter of the landlord. Okay. Now she is all what is opposite of the boy. She is notorious. This boy is, yes, he goes and explores the world. That's there. He goes missing from the house, but he's just so sweet and graceful. The girl is all what is opposite. She is arrogant. She irritates the boy like anything. She hates to study, but even then, insists that her father teaches her also, because the boy is learning something. So she's even jealous, but secretly she's in love with that boy. And when the time comes for her marriage, um, the landlord decides that Taropodo is getting, or is the apt person to get Charu, the girl, married to. The moment Tarapodo understands that he is going to get married, or he is, people are talking about him getting married to Charu, he elopes. And there ends the story. All right. See, there were men who were strongly going against the stereotypes, and nothing has happened to them. Okay, nothing has happened to them. They ended up enjoying their life. Remember this. Now, coming to the last and the most interesting story, Man Bhajan. Yeah, can you? Yes. There are three people actually in the story. Here, what you're seeing is the girl's name is Giribala, and the boy's name is Gopinath. Okay, so these people were married right from the childhood. I told you this was the time of child marriages. So when they were children, they got married. And they were very close friends, and they were good companions. But once they grew up, things were different. Okay, the man started falling in, or the man started becoming irritated about her. The man never spent time with her. But on the contrary, she was the old romantic self. All the night waiting for the man to come, and feeling very happy to talk to him and all that. The typical romantic girl. Once she understands that this boy or her husband is in love with somebody else. And can you see? Can you show the next slide, Nia? Now, this girl's name is Latika. Okay, she is an artist. She's a performer in a dance drama. Okay, she is a sort of heroine. Okay, she's a very famous artist. And every evening, Gopinath goes to see her performance and spends time with her. And Giribala understands it, after some time. She wants to check out who this girl is and goes secretly to the dance drama one night and sees the lady and her performance. And interestingly, her performance enticed Giribala, okay, the real wife. And she is just, she forgets the fact that, her husband is in love with her. She becomes a fan of Latika, okay. She's just becoming a fan of her performance. All the more she is interested in the performance as such, okay, in the dance drama. Now, there, Latika had to, or she gets into a conflict with the organizers of the dance drama, and at some point, Gopinath elopes or takes Latika to a far off place. So they go off from that village. And the other girl, the wife, is stranded. Giribala is stranded. So these people go to some other place. Gopinath and Latika. There, Latika. So Latika is out from her stage. She has become a wife and a housewife or a homemaker. There she starts missing her stage. Okay, there she starts missing her stage and her performance, and remembering what she was and what what dignity she had in the hearts of people. She starts missing her stage. She starts to feel the pain. In addition to that, she comes to know from the newspaper that somebody else has taken her part. Okay, somebody else is now the talk of the town. She wants to know who that is. All right, so she persuades Gopinath to come or to come back to Kolkata and see for herself who the new diva is. When she came back, when she saw what's happening, both Gopinath and Latika were, they were surprised, or in fact shocked. They were seeing Giribala on the stage performing. Okay, the old wife Giribala was now an artist who took up Letika's former part. Yes, now you can stop presenting. Okay. Now this, I told you, is the most interesting story. Not even once, soon after Latika and Gopinath elopes from that place, you don't see a crying Giribala anymore. She cried before, but not anymore once they have left. Because now what was in her mind was the performance and the art, okay? And she understood, she had the taste for it. She became one, or she ended up becoming one. All right. She never, for once, cried for her lost husband. She took up the stage. Okay. Now, what do you think we can talk about this, or what do you think we can take from the story? See, uh, what is going to make you happy, or what does, let's remove, or let's not put it as what does or what will make a woman happy or a man happy. What will ultimately make an individual happy? It is their individual milestones or individual achievements that's going to make people happy. See, we have a tendency to become too much emotionally independent on our partner, or to other people, be it our partner or family or anybody. So this probably is the uh, is a sort of weighing or a weight on our shoulders. We are too emotionally dependent on people. But let me tell you, however uh, people behave good to you, however romantic your partner is, after a few days you'll get bored of it, or after a few months or maybe years you'll get bored of it. What ultimately gives, or what the ultimate happiness that you are going to have is definitely your personal achievements. Okay, so point number one, we have we have been awakened. Okay, I would say in the uh, in the course of gender equality, women are at a higher level because the awakening has happened already. Okay, I told you it's been a century that we had been talking about sexism and feminism to counter and all that. Now what happens, or what should happen soon after you open your eyes from a bed? You can't lie there as such. You need to wake up, you need to get out of the bed and walk, right? That's the next expected step. So remember to be emotionally independent, or work out to be emotionally independent, work out to be financially independent. Okay, this is for both men and women, especially women. Now the next thing is, for you, or for you to be emotionally independent and financially independent, you need to have a lot of skills that will that will empower you, and work out for that skill. Prune your skills every time, and that will make you independent at the end of the day. Okay, so remember, it is not what other people think about you that makes you what you are. It is what you think of yourself that makes what you are. And remember to ask questions before you're doing something, or when you are before you're heading on with doing things, whether it is something that you like, or whether it is something that is your innate happiness, or whether it is something that is what you're doing for the sake of doing, or because it is your gender role and you are supposed to do it. Okay, and there and assume that you are equal. Nobody can beat you if you assume that you're equal. Okay, stop or quarreling, or stop quarreling with people who are still below your level, who still thinks that women are weaker. Do not even spend time to talk to them. Okay, do you have or you have been awakened, go ahead with it. Go ahead taking your next steps. Okay. So let me end up saying the brilliant answer to PC George would be ignoring whatever he says. Okay. Never going and asking, do you think Bhagya Lakshmi was right? Okay. Right when she swore at the perpetrator. So the best reply for all the patriarchs, the best reply for all the sexists will be ignoring them, okay, completely sidelining them and going ahead with what you are good at, okay, or taking the next steps. Thank you very much. Now over to Nia.
Thank you, ma'am, for your very insightful topic. And now we would like to go into the question answer session. And I would like the participants to please start posting the queries related to the topic in the talk, which we may now take up. So, ma'am, we'll give like 5 or 6, 2 or 3 minutes for the participants to type down the questions. I hope you don't mind the wait.
No
So if
problem.
any of you are interested to ask the question directly to Nimi ma'am, please feel free to unmute yourself and go ahead and ask the question directly. I suppose your conversation and your engagement with the discourse was so full and profound that our candidates or the participants do not have any probing questions. And I would like to inform that all the participants who have questions can actually type down by the time we are continuing the proceeds. So now, if you should we wait for 2 more minutes for anybody to bring in the questions? Let me please check the YouTube link if there is any questions in the same. So we have one question from one of our students, Ajay Das, in the group, in our YouTube live stream. The question is, we have been seeing a lot of Instagram and FB posts with the hashtag "We Have Legs." What is your opinion on that, ma'am?
We
Do you,
have
we have been seeing a lot of Instagram and FB posts with the hashtag "We Have Legs." What is your opinion
we
about
have
that?
we have
We have been seeing a lot of Instagram and FB
no
posts.
what's the hashtag like? I'm sorry, I
We
was
have
out of
legs.
Instagram for a while. We
It's
have
okay. We have legs. I think it was related to the actress Anushwara Rajan's. Uh,
Oh, okay. We have legs. All
yeah,
right, all
yeah, we
right.
have legs.
What
I
do
think
you
the
think it is?
correct one is actually women have legs.
Women have
Hashtag
legs.
women have legs. Yeah. What is
Um,
your opinion on that? That is the question.
I think everybody has legs, right? So, what is the great deal when a woman is in her shorts? What do you think it is? Or the person who is asked, can I have your opinion on that? Let's have a small discussion because I don't know. Isn't that because aren't we so we are not, I understand we are not very comfortable seeing people in shorts. Now the point is it is completely restricted to Kerala. Okay. In Kerala we have problems when we see women wearing a shorts. outside, I don't think it's a problem. So human beings are equal everywhere, right? So why should you have a problem, or why should people have a problem when a girl is wearing what she wants? What is so what is so much, what's bothering you when a woman is uh, or a woman is in her shorts, something that she likes? Why should you consider that it is exhibitionism? And if at all you feel offended by it, don't you think it is your problem? And interestingly, Prithviraj's picture was, put or juxtaposed with it, and it was analyzed. Why don't you? Why is it that Prithviraj is called sexy, and this girl is, she was called as a person who is exhibitionist, or a person who shows off? So isn't that a problem with the way we think? And another point is, it's very interesting to talk about the sexuality or the sexual perceptions of men and women. See, I was just reminded of Chanakya. He said women has 8 times, or 8 times sexual potential than a man. Okay, sexual instinct than a man. But what he great that he acknowledged it. Women does have a higher sexual potential than a man. Okay, but Chanakya, what he says next is, you should, because she has a huge potential for sexuality, or she has a huge sexual potential, you have to uh, tame her a lot so that she does not go out, or she does not break her chains. So you will have to carefully tame her, and beware that she has bigger potential than you. But what do you see in popular discourse these days? That men have that men have what do you call it? The men gets the sexual potential is too much high for men, so women should behave, maintain themselves, so that they're not they're not attacked by men. Because you can't blame men, because they just cannot, by birth they cannot control their feelings. What stupidity is that? See, when scientifically talking, if you are basing your argument on the sexual potential, women are supposed to attack men because she has better potential. So what sort of a logic is that? See, it's all about disciplining, or disciplining your sexuality. It's about seeing people as individuals and not in the box of their gender.
Thank you, ma'am. I think this is an opinion we all actually confer to. So another comment by Christy Joy is that finally we all need to do things out of want and not need, and understand the differences and embrace similarities and treat others as individuals rather than man or women per se. So I suppose this comment itself is a clear indication that your words have impacted the thought process of our students. Another question by Mira Anthony is, how will you explain the term feminism? Ma'am, before you answer that question, I would like to let all the participants know that you may ask your questions in any languages. I mean English and Malayalam, and there is no limitation of the language. ദയവായി നിങ്ങൾക്ക് തോന്നിയ അഭിപ്രായങ്ങളും സംശയങ്ങളും ചോദ്യങ്ങളും ഏത് ഭാഷ ഉപയോഗിച്ചും മാമിനോട് ചോദിക്കാം. So over to you, ma'am, for Mira Anthony's question. How will you explain the term feminism?
See, I tell you, feminism is awakening. Okay, ഒരുപാട് വർഷത്തെ patriarchal thoughts അനലൈസ് ചെയ്യാനും കുറച്ചുകൂടെ അണ്ടർസ്റ്റാൻഡ് ചെയ്യാനും തുടങ്ങിയത് ഫെമിനിസത്തിൻ്റെ വരവോടുകൂടിയാണ്. ഇറ്റ് വാസ് പ്രോബ്ലി ഇൻ ദി 18th century that we started rethinking. Okay, things were set, or things were in favor of men for quite a long time, people or the initial feminists, the pioneers of feminism, started questioning things. Okay, I think feminism was questioning. Feminism was awakening many people from a long slumber, a long sleep. Okay, so that I think was feminism. Now it's about trying to understand what to do next, or taking the next step, or taking the leap. And as I told you, assuming that you're equal. There shouldn't be at this point talk about, or you shouldn't spend your time about explaining to people that I'm a woman, so what, or arguing to people who still think you are a weaker sex. It's about acknowledging the fact, or accepting, assuming the fact that you are equal. See, in a group, when you assume the fact that you are equal, you can do a lot of things. So people who still thinks that you are a weaker sex, they will probably face the trouble. Okay, they will be embarrassed, or they'll get or they'll end up being ashamed of themselves. This happens when you don't spend time in arguing with them that you are equal. Okay, this happens when you start doing, or start assuming your equality and doing things on your own. So that's my understanding about feminism.
Thank you, ma'am. As you rightly pointed out, I think we all, despite our genders, should rather preserve our energy to showcase our individuality rather than prove equality in base of gender or anything else for that matter. So going to the next question, it is posted by Ashwin S. What would you call your efforts to raise the gender issues? Is it an act of feminism or something else?
Can you say that question once again?
Yes. What would you call your efforts to raise the gender issues? Is it an act of feminism or something else? I think it's your subjective perspective about what you are doing.
See, I think it is not. It is also feminism, I would say, but I would like to call it an act of neutralizing the gender inequality. Okay, or working towards gender equality. It is. I would say it is also feminism, but on the bigger picture, it is working out or practicing gender equality.
Okay, ma'am. So there is a lot of comments which suggest that your presentation was very informative, and also it is a direction towards a new change about our perception of gender equality and also our engagement with ideas of gender. And I hope there is no more questions. Yes, there are some discussions that you have spearheaded in the YouTube live session. So I hope that they have actually taken it into a serious consideration about the need to engage with the gender discussions. And I think we come to a conclusion of the question answer session. And I hope all of you will take up the thoughts that were provoked by Nimi ma'am's speech and will rightly apply it into your life. I would like to remind all the participants that has joined us in this meeting to kindly fill the Google form with care, especially a note to the students of St. Stephen's College. Please they make the choice of the student of St. Stephen's College so that you can give in your attendance details in the form. It is shared both in the Google Meet as well as in the YouTube Live. Now, as we conclude our session, I would like to call upon the most enthusiastically energetic and persistent colleague of ours, the coordinator of the college IQAC, Mr. Jace Kurian, for a word of gratitude.
Respected Principal, Professor Lally Surian, and our resource person, Nimi Joseph, and our respected teachers, and my dear students. നമ്മുടെ കോളേജ് വിമൻസ് സെല്ലിന്റെ ആഭിമുഖ്യത്തിൽ ഈ കൊല്ലം രണ്ടാമത്തെ തവണയാണ് ഇങ്ങനൊരു വെബിനാർ സംഘടിപ്പിക്കുന്നത്. വളരെ നല്ല രീതിയിൽ ആണ് കോളേജ് വിമൻസ് സെല്ല് ഈ സെമിനാർ സംഘടിപ്പിക്കുകയുണ്ടായത്. ഞാൻ ആ സെമിനാറിന്റെ ടൈറ്റിൽസിലേക്ക് നോക്കിയപ്പോൾ ജെൻഡർ ആൻഡ് ഫിയർ പൊളിറ്റിക്സ്, ജെൻഡർ ബയാസ് ആൻഡ് സ്റ്റീരിയോടൈപ്പിംഗ്. നമ്മളൊക്കെ വളരെ ചെറുപ്പകാലത്ത് തന്നെ നമ്മുടെ മനസ്സിൽ വേരൂന്നിയിരിക്കുന്ന ഒരു കാര്യമാണ് പുരുഷ മേധാവിത്വം എന്നുള്ള ഒരു കാര്യം പുരുഷന്മാരുടെ ഇടയിലും സ്ത്രീകളുടെ ഇടയിലും പണ്ടുകാലം മുതലേ അത് വേരോടിയിരുന്നു. ഉദാഹരണത്തിന് നമ്മളൊരു വീട്ടിൽ ഭക്ഷണം കഴിക്കാൻ ചെല്ലുമ്പോൾ ആദ്യം പുരുഷന്മാരിരിക്കട്ടെ, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ നമ്മൾ സെമിനാറിന് ചെല്ലുമ്പോൾ ആദ്യം മുൻനിരയിലെ സീറ്റുകൾ പുരുഷന്മാർക്കും പിൻനിരയിലെ സ്ത്രീകൾക്കും. അപ്പൊ അങ്ങനെ സമൂഹം തന്നെ സ്ത്രീകളെ, അതായത് ഒരു ജെൻഡറിന്റെ ബേസിസിൽ സമൂഹത്തിൽ രണ്ടായി കാണുന്ന ഒരു അവസ്ഥയാണ് നേരത്തെ ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നത്. ഇപ്പോൾ വളരെയധികം മാറ്റങ്ങൾ സംഭവിക്കുകയുണ്ടായി. ഇന്നത്തെ ഈ പ്രഭാഷണത്തിൽ നിമി ജോസഫ് വളരെ നല്ല രീതിയിൽ ഈ വിഷയത്തെ പറ്റി സംസാരിക്കുകയുണ്ടായി. ധാരാളം എക്സാമ്പിളിൽ കൂടെ നമ്മുടെ ഫഹദ് ഫാസിലിന്റെയും ഐശ്വര്യലക്ഷ്മിയുടെയും സിനിമയിൽ നിന്ന് തുടങ്ങി ധാരാളം ഉപമകളിലൂടെ എന്താണ് ഈ സ്റ്റീരിയോടൈപ്പ് എന്നും എങ്ങനെയാണ് നമ്മൾ അതിനെ ഓവർകം ചെയ്യേണ്ടത് എന്നും പറയുകയുണ്ടായി. അതായത് നമ്മൾക്കൊരു സ്വപ്നമുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ മറ്റുള്ളവർ നമ്മളെ പറ്റി എന്ത് പറയുന്നു എന്നുള്ളതല്ല, നമ്മൾ വാട്ട് യു തിങ്ക് അബൌട്ട് യുവർസെൽഫ്, നീ നിന്നെ പറ്റി എന്ത് പറയുന്നു എന്നുള്ളതാണ് നിന്റെ വിജയത്തിന്റെ അടിസ്ഥാനം എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. ഓക്കെ, അങ്ങനെയുള്ളവർക്ക് തീർച്ചയായിട്ടും വിജയം കൈവരിക്കാൻ വേണ്ടി പറ്റും എന്നുള്ള ഒരു കൺക്ലൂഷനിലേക്ക് നമുക്ക് എത്താം. കാരണം എപ്പോഴും പുരുഷന്മാര്, നമ്മൾ ഈ സെമിനാറിന്റെ ഉദ്ദേശം തന്നെ ഇത് ഒരു കോളേജ് വിമൻസ് സംഘടിപ്പിക്കുന്നതുകൊണ്ട് ഇതില് സ്ത്രീകൾ മാത്രം പങ്കെടുത്താൽ പോരാ എന്നുള്ള ഉദ്ദേശത്തിലാണ് നമ്മുടെ ഈ കോളേജിലെ എല്ലാ കുട്ടികളെയും നമ്മൾ പങ്കെടുപ്പിക്കുകയുണ്ടായത്. കാരണം ജെൻസും ലേഡീസും ഒരേപോലെ മനസ്സിലാക്കേണ്ട വളരെ പ്രധാനപ്പെട്ട കാര്യങ്ങളാണ് ഇന്ന് നിമി ജോസഫ് പറഞ്ഞു വെച്ചത്. അപ്പൊ നമ്മുടെ ഈ കോളേജ് ക്ഷണം സ്വീകരിച്ച് നമ്മുടെ ഈ വെബിനാറിൽ നല്ല രീതിയിൽ അത് പ്രിപ്പയർ ചെയ്ത് നല്ല രീതിയിൽ അത് പ്രസന്റ് ചെയ്ത നിമി ജോസഫ് മാഡത്തിന് ഈ കോളേജിന്റെ പേരിലും ഈ കോളേജ് വിമൻസ് സെല്ലിന്റെ പേരിലും ഐക്യൂസിയുടെ പേരിലും വളരെ അധികം നന്ദി പറയുന്നു. താങ്ക് യു മാം. അതേപോലെ ഈ സെമിനാറിന് പിന്നണിയിൽ പ്രവർത്തിക്കുകയും നമുക്ക് എല്ലാവിധ പ്രോത്സാഹനം തരികയും ചെയ്ത് നമ്മുടെ കോളേജ് പ്രിൻസിപ്പൽ പ്രൊഫസർ ലല്ലി ശ്രീക്കാണ്. നമ്മുടെ ഓരോ കാര്യത്തിനും, നമ്മുടെ സെമിനാറിന്റെ വിജയത്തിന് വേണ്ടിയിട്ട് ഓരോ കാര്യത്തിനും നമ്മളെ സപ്പോർട്ട് ചെയ്യുകയും നമ്മെ വിളിച്ച് പ്രോത്സാഹിപ്പിക്കുകയും ചെയ്തുകൊണ്ടിരുന്ന നമ്മുടെ ഈ കോളേജിന്റെ പ്രിൻസിപ്പൽ ബഹുമാനപ്പെട്ട ലല്ലി ടീച്ചറിന് ഈ കോളേജിന്റെ വിമൻസ് സെല്ലിന്റെ പേരിലും ഐക്യൂസിയുടെ പേരിലും കോളേജിന്റെ പേരിലും പ്രഥമമായ നന്ദി പറയുന്നു. അതേപോലെ ഈ കോളേജിന്റെ വിമൻസ് സെല്ലിന്റെ പിന്നണിയിൽ നിന്ന് ഇതിനെ ചൂക്കാൻ പിടിച്ചത് നമ്മുടെ കൊമേഴ്സ് ഡിപ്പാർട്ട്മെന്റ് ജിഷു ടീച്ചർ, ഇംഗ്ലീഷ് ഡിപ്പാർട്ട്മെന്റിലെ നവിത ടീച്ചർ, നിയ ടീച്ചർ, അതുപോലെ കെമിസ്ട്രി ഡിപ്പാർട്ട്മെന്റിലെ ബിബി ടീച്ചർ എന്നിവരാണ്. അതോടൊപ്പം അവരെ സഹായിക്കുവാനായിട്ട് ഈ കാര്യം വെബിനാർ ഭംഗിയ രീതിയിൽ നല്ല രീതിയിൽ സംഘടിപ്പിക്കാനായിട്ട് മുൻപന്തിയിൽ നിന്നത് നമ്മുടെ കമ്പ്യൂട്ടർ സയൻസ് ഡിപ്പാർട്ട്മെന്റിലെ മനോജ് സാറ്, അതുപോലെ ഇംഗ്ലീഷ് ഡിപ്പാർട്ട്മെന്റിലെ ടീന മിസ്, ശ്രുതി മിസ് എന്നിവരാണ്. ഇവരെല്ലാവരുടെയും സഹകരണം കൊണ്ടാണ് ഈ വെബിനാർ വളരെ നല്ല രീതിയിൽ ഒരു വൻ വിജയമാക്കി മാറ്റി തീർത്തത്. അപ്പോൾ എല്ലാവർക്കും ഒരിക്കൽ കൂടി നന്ദി പറഞ്ഞുകൊണ്ട് നിർത്തുന്നു. നന്ദി, നമസ്കാരം. താങ്ക് യു.
Thank you, Jay sir. To the notice of Nimi ma'am, we have actually successfully completed it earlier in time. So we have two more questions, which is seems to be pressing because if you would answer that, I think it would be very helpful for our students. So the first question is posted by Ahilya, one of our previous students. The question is, I would like to know how would we react to rapes? For example, in Hatra case, what can we do as a citizen for that girl rather than hashtags and lighting up candles? What is a practical answer?
See, I had to think twice whether to touch upon rapes or not, because we have a very, at this point is a very pressing point where, all sensible people in the country are heavy-hearted because of the rape that happened recently. I don't know whether, see, that's actually a very different topic. When the girl in Delhi was, or during the time of the Nirbhaya rape case, I was at my college. We were in third year. So from then onwards, what I think is everybody were planning to do a sort of candle march and all that. So that's the usual way we protest to it. But what thinking I had was, why not as a group go through the streets at the middle of the night? Let's see who's going to rape us. Obviously that did not work out. But let me tell you, it's about, I don't know, it is very emotional for me to comment on it. I had been keeping away from the story because that was emotionally putting me down. But we have to confront. We have to confront the dangers that lies ahead of us. See, it's about making or equipping ourselves with basic defense techniques. Okay, if you have a girl child or if you have any girls in the family who is growing, make sure that they learn a sort of defense techniques, at least the basics of it, so that you are safe. We cannot correct every man, or we cannot correct the environment. It's a huge task. Okay, it will get corrected probably after, I hope it will get corrected in a few generations. But the fact is that we are a little insecure. So what we can do is learn how to react, learn how to be protective of ourselves, learn how to empower the coming generation to be defensive. And I think that is, or enmassing that skills or pruning that sort of skills, I think is better than a hashtag campaign.
I think, as you rightly pointed out, it is rather a very distressing thing for many people. It might be even triggering to comment on the rape. And only yesterday we were speaking about how complex it is to make such engagements on gender when situations or the current political and social climate is very endangering. So even when we teach our students, it is very difficult for us to engage with these concepts because they do not see that in real life. And to add upon what you have very informatively shared with us, I would like to tell all the students and enthusiasts here that maybe small revisions of your thoughts, small engagements with the ideas of gender and equality might make small changes in your daily life. To question the small limitations based on your gender, to question your own critics or your own biases will be a small start to an eventual change, along with equipping ourselves for any defenses in case of any atrocity that might happen before the society actually changed. So I think this is very much in line with the question that the next question have come. It is posted by a student called Anne Maria. So the question is, so there are a lot of men who are actually friends and who are respecting women and their friends especially. So, but when there is a communication, when there is a conversation of feminism, they seem to be less interested. So is that because they do not know what is actually feminism? So how do we deal with such a disinterest or a lack of interest, for that matter, that the men, amazing or good men in their life, show?
See, let me tell you, feminism and feminists are, they are portrayed in movies and in, caricatures very differently. In fact, indifferently. Okay, nobody knows that feminism is an academic discipline. It is a movement that happened a century back or 2 centuries back. It is an academic discourse. The people around, or hardly people around, knows it. They perceived, or they were conditioned to perceive feminists as people, in shades, wearing only sleeveless dresses and wearing lipsticks. This is there, and always talking ill of men. This is the popular idea of feminists and feminism. Okay, and this is the reason. Personally, this is what I think. Men who knows that women are not the weaker counterparts, or women, we should talk for women who deeply feel saddened about the rape cases, who from or from the wholeheartedly comment on, feel very distressed about what's happening to women, and all that. They, at the end of the discussion, they say that no, but we do all these, we do feel for the women, we think that they really are equal to men, but we don't approve of feminists. or we don't really approve of, uh, feminism as such, because I think it is because of the what the movies has portrayed about what a feminist should be, or what a feminist are normally. It's I think because of the media. Okay, that's what my idea is.
Ma'am, another question is posted by Jisni Sunny. When I was on eighth grade, all the girls were asked to line up and were taken to a hall where we were given lecture about how we hit puberty, whereas boys stayed in class. What is your take on this?
Now, this is something that annoyed me equally. Who's the person who asked it?
Jisni is a
Jisni.
student of English literature in our college.
All right. Jisni, this is something that annoys me even now. I think it should be a mixed class. In fact, at least I feel that even men should be, at that point should be made aware what's their puberty will be like. Okay, they too undergo a lot of body changes, right? So nobody talks to them, right? The best part is that people talk to us. Okay, there are people, or they, the school invites or takes initiative to talk, address the women or address the girls, and talk about the stages of, or the puberty and what to do about it and all that. But hardly men or the boys get such a talk, and this is actually creating a lot of problem. I think it should start from there. Something that you rightly pointed out, something that annoyed, or in fact, I also questioned. So I think it should be a must. Either it should be a mixed class of boys and girls, having a discussion about what puberty is and what are the changes that will be happening in boys and girls. What should be done uh, to include the opposite gender, or what is your role when somebody is undergoing such a change and all that. I think this should be either a mixed class as per the comfort, mixed class, or it should be, at least it should be, or the talk should be, um, or the boys should also be addressed equally.
Thank you, ma'am. So there were some comments regarding, I think it comes from a misunderstanding or the evolution or the portrayal of feminism in the current contemporary scenario, that misunderstands or misrepresents it rather as narcissism or overpowering. So where the terms like feminism or feminazi is denied by the women itself, where the true meaning of feminism is lost. So on the context of that, there was a comment saying the feminism is addressing social, political, and cultural issues of the sexes. I repeat, the sexes. So we are not sure if it is a question or a comment, but we wanted it to be represented in the group. So I would move into the next concern that is shared by another participant, which is nowadays feminism is not the same. Women are not fighting for equality, but for overpowering men. It loses its complete meaning. Do you have any comments on that, ma'am?
Sometimes I also feel that, because sometimes, unfortunately, people end up, or the so-called feminists end up uh, talking about the issues of women alone. Okay, and that's the reason why I started the talk with addressing the gender stereotypes that the men face. Okay, so I think that has to be equally dealt with. Rather than repeating whatever we have said, I told you the awakening has happened. For concerning the women, our fight has already begun. Okay, our fight has already begun. We know how to deal with hostile sexism. We know, we have, to a larger extent, we are aware of stereotypes on our shoulders. We are trying to break that up. We are, getting, or we are moving ahead. But there is always a problem that men are not able to deal with empowered women. See, I personally think it is because the lack of awareness in among men about the stereotypes which are weighing them down. Okay, the stereotypes which they are trying hard uh, to crack. Okay, so I think the narratives should now focus more on men, and what consequences that they are facing because of their or because they are because of the stereotypes they are expected to uh, balance, or they are expected to make meet.
Ma'am, I think we are flooded with a lot of questions, and the students have actually started up a lot of discussions on the same. But I'm afraid our time is very limited, and we shall put in all these questions and will be, I think, maybe on a later time or a coming webinar. Thank you so much for your insightful talk. And as Tracer said, it was very informative, and we are indeed very privileged to see our students actually engaging in conversation, because we all believe that the change starts from being conscious and raising awareness. And you have very rightly and aptly done that. Thank you so much for joining us, ma'am. I hope to collaborate with you more in the future. Thank you so much, ma'am. And thanks to all the participants. And a kind reminder again and again, kindly fill the feedback forms available in the YouTube link and the Google Meet. And this was especially important for the students of St. Stephen's for your attendance. All the participants will be given certificates within 2 to 3 working days. Thank you so much.
All right. I hope I can just take one more minute
Yes, sure.
to express my gratitude. I thank you from the bottom of my heart, all the faculties of St. Stephen's College, Uzhavoor, especially people, or the committee members of the organizing members of this program. I thank you for the opportunity given. I hope I did justice to what was given to me, and let the talks of gender equality be in the mind, or let the practice go on. All right, and remember, it is time to move on rather than complaining. Things will definitely come in line. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I think we can announce the session to end. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much, all the participants who have joined from the college and outside the college through the Google Meet and YouTube Live. Thank you so much.